Hey everybody! Last lesson I showed you how to create rotational solids using the ROSOL command. This lesson I'm going to teach you how to make rotational shells using the ROSHELL command and how to make rotational surfaces using the ROSURF command. In a few moments I'll explain to you what rotational shells and rotational surfaces are. In front of us I have an example of a rotational solid I made using the ROSOL command, which looks kind of like a vase. The curvature on the outside of this vase was made with a Bezier curve which was created with a set of points. On the left, you can see the code where I make this set of points using a list, create the solid using the ROSOL command, and then display it. To explain to you what the ROSHELL and ROSURF commands do, I want to first show you what ROSOL can't do. Remember that the third parameter of the ROSOL command is the minimum radius of the rotational solid. We can change this to make a hollow inner area for the solid, like we already have here. As you can see, the third parameter of our object is a 2, and because of this, there is this hollow area inside of our solid. The problem with this is that the thickness of the walls of this solid are not uniform. In some places they are thinner than others. This is where the ROSURF and ROSHELL commands become useful in making hollow rotational objects. They both work in similar ways to ROSOL, but with some key differences. I'll show you how we can use the ROSHELL command in this situation. It can create a shell with curves defined by a Bezier curve, and it will have a uniform thickness. It takes the same first parameter as ROSOL, a set of points, to make a Bezier curve. The second parameter is the thickness of the surface, and the third is the degree rotation. So let's change my object to an object created using ROSHELL. Making our list points a first parameter, point 2 as the thickness of the surface, and 360 to make a full 360 degree rotation, and let's run our program. Remember, because it's a curved surface, it's computationally expensive, and it may take a few moments to load. Here it is. Now our Bezier curve defined figure is hollow and with a uniform thickness in its sides. Remember that you can change the shell's thickness using the second parameter of the ROSHELL command. Now I would like to show you how to use the command to make a rotational surface, or the ROSURF command. The ROSURF command, like the ROSHELL command, creates a hollow shell. However, there are some key differences between the two. The shell that the ROSURF command makes has no thickness. It is a two-dimensional surface made in 3 dimensions created by rotating the Bezier curve around an axis. Really, it creates a rotational surface, not a rotational shell. This means a few things. Firstly, it's faster and less computationally expensive than the ROSHELL command. However, because the shell has no thickness, it cannot be printed and objects cannot be subtracted from it. If you are just modeling with no intentions to print your objects, then the ROSURF command is very useful and efficient. It takes 2 parameters. The first is a set of points to define the outer curved surface. The second is the number of degrees that you want to rotate your object around the axis. So let's turn our myObject into an object made using the ROSURF command. Let's use our list of points as the first parameter. Then let's put a 180 in as the second parameter so that we can see the thin edges along the edge of our surface. Here is our rotational surface made with the same outer Bezier curve as our other figures and having a thickness of 0. It rotated 180 degrees around the y-axis from here, where the original curve was defined. To summarize this lesson, remember that the ROSHELL and ROSURF commands are used to make rotational shells and rotational surfaces. Shells have thickness and surfaces do not. The ROSHELL command takes 3 parameters, and the ROSURF command takes 2. The ROSHELL command is used to create shells with a thickness that you can define and whose outer edges are made with Bezier curves which are defined by a list of points. The ROSURF command is used to create a surface which has no thickness and cannot be printed or subtracted from, though it is less computationally expensive than objects made using the ROSHELL command.